Krishna, everyone. Hare Bol. Welcome to another reading of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavatam Bites. And we are here in Matchless Gifts, but this is a view or perspective we don't often give you, or I don't think we've ever given you, especially since the renovation.
We have given it, though, before the renovation when we first moved here.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember what was behind us?
Yeah, that picture of the universes.
Yeah, and it was the picture of Goloka Vrindavan planet and all the other universes, and then from the front of the Srimad Bhagavatam, actually. But this is what we're calling here the dream wall, and that's because Gaur Kumar Prabhu, the president of Matchless Gifts, he had a dream about that. I think Prabhupada was saying to him, you have to make sure this wall is done properly. So
really?
Yeah.
I didn't know
That's
that.
why it's called the dream wall.
I was wondering why they kept calling it the dream wall.
Yeah, because he had a dream. I think he kept having dreams about it.
Wow.
Yeah, and so...
that's incredible.
Yeah. So this wall, this section is what the devotees, when they used to stay here, would be more like their altar area. So I don't know how much of this you can see, but they'd have a picture of Prabhupada here. There's some fruits down here, and like that. And then they had a picture of the Panchatattva, which it's not the original, but it's a copy of what's in the picture. And then a picture of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And then one of the most interesting things is they had a record player. So there's actually a record player here, and it does work. And there's a whole story behind that. But and then they used to listen to the album that's right there. There's a album there. It's called the Happening Album. So that's the album that George Harrison and John Lennon were listening to when, if you know the story, that when Shyam Sundar Prabhu met him in London, he said, "Where you been? We were in Greece, me and John, on this boat, and all we were doing was listening to the Happening Album." So that was recorded here in New York. So anyway, this is a different perspective for you, but we're here at Matchless Gifts, the holiest of holy dhams, and we're reading Srimad Bhagavatam. And yes, I'm a poet, and I did know it. Hare
So they had a record player on the boat.
I don't know if they had a record player on the boat or if they made somehow a tape copy, but he said they were listening to the Happening Album.
All right.
Yeah.
Canto 4, Chapter 25, Text 12.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. That was an inspiration from Wisdom of the Sages.
Right. I was just looking at Prabhupada.
Oh.
All right, text 12. King Paranjana had unlimited desires for sense enjoyment. Consequently, he traveled all over the world to find a place where all his desires could be fulfilled. Unfortunately, he found a feeling of insufficiency everywhere. Srila Vidyapati, a great Vaishnava poet, has sung Tadala Saikate Vari Bindu Sama Sutta Mita Ramani Samaj.
Bindu Sama. I was thinking of Bindi Sabji.
No, I wasn't. I was thinking of a bindi.
A Bindi.
Material sense gratification with society, friendship and love is herein compared to a drop of water falling on a desert. A desert requires oceans of water to satisfy it, and if only a drop of water is supplied, what is its use? Similarly, the living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who, as stated in the Vedanta Sutra, is Anandamaya Abhyasat. What?
Anandamaya Abhyasat. The way we usually say it. But
Full of enjoyment. Being part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the living entity is also seeking complete enjoyment. However, complete enjoyment cannot be achieved separate from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In his wanderings in the different species of life, the living entity may taste some type of enjoyment in one body or another, but full enjoyment of the senses cannot be obtained in any material body. Thus, Paranjan, the living entity, wanders in different types of bodies, but everywhere meets frustration in his attempt to enjoy. In other words, the spiritual spark covered by matter cannot fully enjoy the senses in any circumstance in material life. A deer may become absorbed in the musical sounds vibrated by the hunter, but the result is that it loses its life. Similarly, a fish is very expert in gratifying its tongue, but when it eats the bait offered by the fisherman, it loses its life. Even the elephant, who is so strong, is captured and loses its independence while satisfying its genitals with a female elephant. In each and every species of life, the living entity gets a body to satisfy various senses, but he cannot enjoy all his senses at one time. In the human form of life, he gets an opportunity to enjoy all his senses pervertedly. But the result is that he becomes so harassed in his attempted sense gratification that he ultimately becomes morose. As he tries to satisfy his senses more and more, he becomes more and more entangled.
Tangled.
Then this is the problem with family life. It's actually better if you can hack it to go it alone. Because like Prabhupada says, you get more and more entangled. Spouse, parents, parents-in-law, kids, their kids, friends, this, that. And it just increases that pain every time you add another person when you got to leave or they leave.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm speaking from the Bhagavatam.
Well, are you done?
For now.
I mean, yes, it definitely is there. Of course, Prabhupada said that all the men should remain brahmacharis and all the women should get married. And they said, Prabhupada, how's that work? He said, you're the managers, it's for you to figure out. So, yeah, in one sense, yeah, it sounds like an easy thing, but we know that those who remain in the renounced order don't always remain in the renounced order, and those who just go it alone don't always make it either. In Bhagavatam, there's Sobari Muni, who was underwater for however many hundred or thousands of years, and then he just saw two fish kind of enjoying, and he fell down, came out, and I think he married 10 wives or something like that. So it's not, exactly. Although what I understood from your thing was that it's the attachment is painful, right? You become attached.
That's right.
But the purport was focusing more on the desire for sense gratification and enjoyment in the material world. And yeah, of course, if we can go it alone and be strong. But most people, I think would have trouble with that. And so therefore, I'm always like kind of inspired by the fact that the philosophy is not about giving anything up. It's about adding one thing, and that one thing is Krishna. And then we do our family life for Krishna. We understand that the husband, wife, kids, in-laws, outlaws, fish, pets, cats, dogs, whatever it is that people have, they're all parts and parcel of Krishna, and my role is to care for them and look after them as a service to Krishna, and we try to Krishnaize whatever we're doing. And of course people leave, and it's true, it's not easy. We add another person, and then when they start to check out or leave or pass away, it's going to be hurt. But that's also can be a spiritual emotion, like Narottam Das Thakur you know, sings in Jayanilo Premadana, where have all these great personalities gone, you know? And then he says, I'll smash my head on a rock and enter into fire, because he's feeling that mood of separation. So this can also be a spiritual emotion. I don't know, what do you think about that?
Okay.
Wow, okay. Would you like to read the next one?
No, I've already done it.
Okay. Text 13.
Well, yeah, you spoke enough, but anyway.
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
No, it's fine. It's all right. Text
13.
Okay, it's got quite a long purport.
So what do you want to do?
Um,
I mean, it's like you've spoken like Sukadeva Swami. It felt like we were here for 7 days by the Naimisharanya, you know?
by the Naimisharanya?
Yeah.
That's the name of the forest, right?
Yeah, so the forest, like the forest, the Naimisharanya, isn't it? The Epsom forest.
No Krishna, the all attractive.
The God.
The God. Well, okay, yeah, let's just, let's read. Text 13. Once while wandering in this way, he saw on the southern side of the Himalayas, in a place named Bharatvarsh, India, a city that had 9 gates all about and was characterized by all auspicious facilities. Purport. The tract of land south of the Himalayan mountains is the land of India, which was known as Bharatvarsh. When a living India takes birth in Bharatvarsh, he is considered to be most fortunate. Indeed, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has stated, Bharata Bhumite Hoila Manusyu Janma Jar, Janma Sartika Kari Kara Pada Upakar. That's Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila 9.41. Thus, whoever takes birth in the land of Bharatvarsh attains all the facilities of life. He may take advantage of all these facilities for both material and spiritual advancement, and thus make his life successful. After attaining the goal of life, one may distribute his knowledge and experience all over the world for humanitarian purposes. In other words, one who takes birth in the land of Bharatvarsh by virtue of his past pious activities gets full facility to develop the human form of life. In India, the climatic condition is such that one can live very peacefully without being disturbed by material conditions. And I mean, generally India is very hot, but okay. Indeed, and then it rains like 3 or 4 months a year. Indeed, during the time of Maharaj Yudhisthira or Lord Ramchandra, people were free from all anxieties. There was not even extreme cold or extreme heat. The 3 kinds of miserable conditions, adhyatmika, adibhautika, and adidaivika, miseries inflicted by the body, mind itself, those inflicted by other living entities, and natural disturbances, were all absent during the reign of Lord Ramchandra or Maharaj Yudhisthira. But at present, compared to other countries on earth, India is artificially disturbed. Despite these material disturbances, however, the country's culture is such that one can easily attain the goal of life, namely salvation or liberation from material bondage. Thus, in order to take birth in India, one must have performed many pious activities in a past life. Wow, there you go. But, I mean, I'm not going to comment too much because there's quite a lot to read. But I always understood Bharatvarsh meant the whole planet.
Oh my
But,
days.
and it does. The whole planet is referred to as Bharatvarsh because the whole planet was under the rule of one king. Bharat. But before that, it was called Ilavati Varsh. So, but here it seems Prabhupada is just referring to the tract of land south of the Himalayas known as India in modern day, but he's calling that Bharatvarsh. So, Hare Krishna.
Alright, next paragraph. In this verse, the word Lakshita Lakshanam indicates that the human body attained in Bharatvash is very auspicious. Vedic culture is full of knowledge, and a person born in India can fully take advantage of Vedic cultural knowledge and the cultural system known as Varnashram Dharma. Even at the present time, as we travel all over the world, we see that in some countries, human beings have many material facilities, but no facilities for spiritual advancement. We find everywhere the defects of one-sided facilities and a lack of full facilities. A blind man can walk but not see. A lame man cannot walk but can see. Following the logic called Andapangunyaya, the blind man may take the lame man over his shoulder, and as the blind man walks, the lame man may give him directions. Thus, combined they may walk, but individually neither the blind man nor the lame man can walk successfully. Similarly, this human form of life is meant for the advancement of spiritual life and for keeping the material necessities in order. Especially in the Western countries, there are ample facilities for material comforts, but no one has any idea of spiritual advancement. Many are hankering after spiritual advancement, but many cheaters come, take advantage of their money, bluff them, and go away. Fortunately, the Krishna consciousness movement is there to give all facilities for both material and spiritual advancement. In this way, people in the Western countries may take advantage of this movement. In India, any man in the village is unaffected by the industrial cities of India, can still live in any condition and make spiritual advancement. The body has been called the city of 9 gates, and these 9 gates include 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, 1 mouth, 1 genital organ, and a rectum. When the 9 gates are clean and working properly, it is to be understood that the body is healthy. In India, these 9 gates are kept clean by the villagers who rise early in the morning, bathe in the well or rivers, go to the temples to attend Mangal Arati, chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and take prasad. In this way, one can take advantage of all the facilities of human life. We are gradually introducing this system in different centers in our society in the Western countries. One who takes advantage of it becomes more and more enlightened in spiritual life. At the present moment, India may be compared to the lame man and the Western countries to the blind man. For the past 2,000 years, India has been subjugated by the rule of foreigners, and the legs of progress have been broken. In the Western countries, the eyes of the people have become blind due to the dazzling glitter of material opulence. The blind man of the Western countries and the lame man of India should combine together in this Krishna consciousness movement. Then the lame man of India can walk with the help of the Westerner, and the blind Westerner can see with the help of the lame man. In short, the material advancement of the Western countries and the spiritual assets of India should combine for the elevation of all human society. Isn't that interesting? The British invaded and pillaged and ruined India, and basically tried to tear apart all their faith and their sort of what they thought was mythology and sentiment and basically lack of knowledge, you know, which actually in hindsight shows their lack of knowledge, that they couldn't even recognize that jewel, you know. And so you throw it out. It's like if someone came, if we, you know, did a spring clean and we found the world's most expensive diamond and we threw it away because we were like, what's that silly thing? And someone finds out, they think you're so dumb, you know. If you throw away a whole bag of money or whatever. So it's interesting, and they came and they, oh, we gave you infrastructure, or we did this, or we did that, we educate, whatever, in material education, but they completely, it's like Krishna covered them in the sense that they completely couldn't see. Literally, you know, because sometimes they were messing up the temples and deities and they just couldn't see. They were seeing and not seeing, you know? So these are the lame people. But Krishna arranged that so many years later, hundreds, whatever. No, not even hundreds, was it? When Prabhupada came, and it's like, well, he said that. He said that when, wasn't it in London when the reporter said, why have you come here? And as he said, I've come to bring you what you...
Come to teach you what you have forgotten.
Yeah, and it's interesting. It's like, because you came and you ruled for hundreds of years. The British were there for a long time, and still they didn't have the eyes to see. But so he, you took everything else. You took the jewels, the minerals, where, But the most important thing, that Prabhupada came and, hey, you forgot this, and I'm giving it for free. Here you go. So you can pillage that. Isn't that interesting?
Yes.
But yeah, it's a shame because people look at like India and that, or Africa or this country, and then they think they're not advanced or they're backward. Because if you don't have skyscrapers and if you don't have,
Sky TV, skyscrapers and Sky TV.
Yeah, Netflix, and if you don't go to Harvard or, have a certain amount of money or drink a certain wine or whatever, if you're not on that social level, then what are these people going to teach us, But going to a simple African village and talking to them, and going to India, there's so much, then people do have epiphanies and like realize, what was I doing in the rat race, or what, this is what was missing, People realize that, and they think, how are you so happy you just got your little mud hut? I mean, I don't want a mud hut myself, but I don't mind as long as it's got a decent bathroom, having said that. But
mud huts in general don't have decent bathrooms.
I know, so then I can't have a mud hut.
In fact, they don't have bathrooms. You take a bottle of water and you go into the woods.
Yeah, but it doesn't apply to me because I've accepted what Prabhupada's giving. So we're all right.
Okay, yeah.
Give me a mud hut, please.
Okay.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.